Good. Now, 1 second. Live
Mhm.
video is starting. Yay! Okay, now, yay! Welcome, everyone. It's always a little stressful when doing Facebook Lives. They changed the interface a couple of months ago, and it gives me much anxiety, but we did it. So that's what matters.
Mhm.
And we are live with my beautiful friend and host of the Sessions to Stages Summit, Dr. Dominique Pritchett. And I've interviewed her in the past, but this feels like a good time to do it again with the summit.
You
And
never interviewed me.
I didn't, I thought we did in my group before.
No.
Well, shit, I take it back. Then you're
Yes.
all in for a treat. Yay. Okay. I'm going to open this up on my phone too. So if you're watching this live, feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat. Like, this is your time. If you're watching the replay or you're watching this on YouTube later, just put hashtag replay and we will come back and happy to answer any questions that you have. And we are talking all things speaking. But Dr. Dominique, introduce yourself first and let folks know who you are and what you do, because you are very good at your job and people need to know that.
Thank you, friend. Hey, you all. My name is Dr. Dominique Pritchett. I come from by way of Kenosha, Wisconsin. If you don't know where that is, it's an hour south of Milwaukee, an hour north of Chicago, right on the beautiful Lake Michigan. So, I am a mental health therapist or a licensed mental health therapist. I'm a global speaker, an organizational wellness consultant, and trainer. And I own three companies: Beloved Wellness Center, my private practice, Speak to the Soul, and Space for Sisters, which is a wellness community for Black women and girls.
Just do a couple things.
And I could have gone on and on. But in terms of mental health professionals, I do offer VIP days and I work with them through strategy intensives to help them catapult their speaking business using the skills they already have from their therapy sessions.
Yes, which again, like why I think that's so important that we're talking about this right now is because now more than ever, even though you may think that there is not space to be a speaker right now, it's needed more than it ever has been. And I know that I hear every single day from therapists that you don't, I'm not going to say you don't want to do therapy anymore, but I hear often, right? Like,
Mhm.
how can I diversify my income? How can I use my skills in other ways? And that's exactly what Dominique helps you do. Tell us a little bit about how you made this shift. Actually, I know this story and it's really cool, but like, how did you start speaking?
Yeah. Yeah. In the short version, I think we've all been speakers, you know. People believe speaking is this unattainable thing and it's this magic power. But I started speaking in church, you know, as a girl, get up and read the attendance or the agenda for the week or whatever. So I've always had something to say. But I endured a lot of trauma in my childhood. And at one point of my life, I stopped talking. I stopped talking for almost a year. You know, every y'all have heard similar stories of it was just so heavy that you just went inward. And of course, nobody ever asked the magical question, what happened to you? And so when I lost my voice as a little girl, I said, well, I'm not going to ever speak my mind. I'm not going to ever say anything that comes up for me. So I harbored all of that in, and what came out was anger. But in reality, I was protecting myself. And
Mhm.
so, you fast forward, and I had this profound conversation with someone, and they asked, what happened to you? Very similar to Maya Angelou's story. And they more so told her, you're not the blame for your childhood trauma. So I started writing poetry. I started a girls group when I was a young girl, and I was teaching them how to braid their hair and build their self-esteem. But I really started speaking up at that time when I told my abuser, the person whose room was a few doors down to me, the person that was immediate family, the day I told that person, you don't get to hurt me ever again. I was in middle school. You do not get to hurt me ever again. And from that moment on, I vowed I'm going to amplify my voice and make people really fucking uncomfortable when they're harming other people and harming me.
Mhm.
And so that story just continued. And I used my voice. I was in a traveling gospel choir. And so I used my voice in so many platforms and social justice, boots on the ground, frontline advocacy. But when I learned that people can want to pay me, people can pay me for my story, and they want to pay me for the experiences, the expertise I've developed now as a clinician and a young professional. So, almost a decade ago, I stopped treating speaking like a hobby and started treating it like a business because I said, if I'm going to give you access to me, there needs to be some type of reciprocity. Pay me in money, pay me in partnerships. And that's been the journey thus
Mhm.
far. And me speaking, and when you all hear, well, state the word stages, the stage is anywhere that feels aligned with who you are at the core and authentically, whether it is in a comedy club, y'all, whether it is on a big stage, an auditorium, a college, a campus, a community center, your church, wherever your stage is, and you can add value to someone's transformational experiences, step on it. So my voice and my what I have to say, whether it's at a mental health retreat or conference, it's taken me around the world. And now I get to do the very thing I do in therapy every day and present it as a non-clinical based service of helping organizations around the world, whether they are in Sao Paulo, Brazil, London, Canada, wherever they are. I get to help them and their people navigate evolving mental capacity, being productive without harm, burnout prevention, and I talk about this stuff every day. And the
Mhm.
last thing I want to say to that is now I show up in a way where I'm not focused on whether I'm a give value. I am the value. I focus on have I practiced and prepared myself enough to share the information to create transformation in people's lives. And so I always say we're not charging per hour therapy rates when we have done this much healing and work to share our wisdom. We're not charging per hour therapy rates. It has to come with some zeros and at least one comma.
Mhm. I sure am glad we're recording this because I'm like that was just a whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, I hope that everybody in this group listens and really not just listens, but hears exactly what you just said. Because, and I think you probably know the same thing that we hear a lot of limiting beliefs from therapists about this. Like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Or I've talked about this too, where I'm like, I thought speaking was like being the keynote at a big conference, but speaking is this. We're speaking right now. You speak to your clients every day. It could be your social media, it could be a training, it could be your Psychology Today video. Those are all moments where you need to use your voice and your own messaging.
Yeah. Yeah. And at some point, it has to translate to whenever we speak, I pray your goal is to impact someone's life versus harm or hurt or hinder them of their healing or progress. So, impact first and foremost. And if y'all know anything about me, I love a good alliteration. Okay.
You
My,
do, and you're so good at
my
it.
brain works in listicles and alliterations. And so I'm writing a grocery list and I'm just like, and it's descending. We got potatoes and
I love
but when we get to translate what we do every day in therapy to impact people's lives on an extended scale, not bigger always, just extended, because the reality is everyone can't access us. Okay. So the impact,
Mhm.
first and foremost, that is why we do it. And secondly, the income that comes with it. And third, I hear in terms of those limiting beliefs, I hear so many mental health professionals saying, I'm burnt out. I don't even know if I want to do this therapy thing anymore. I missed out on every special occasion with my children, my partner, my friends. At this point in my life, my business revolves around my fun and my freedom.
Mhm.
So every January, I look at what's the year ahead. I take at least a 2 week vacation every quarter, if not more. I only work 3 days a week because I said, okay, in order for me to do this, so now you got to look at, okay, can I really grow and scale this thing? What would this look like? When you do the good math, I'd rather take on a low end $5,000 times four doing the same realm of conversation around thought leadership, $5,000 for 1 hour speaking engagement. Multiply that by four. That's 20,000 dollars. And guess what? You can keep duplicating that. And so, yeah, we have those limiting beliefs because I think people are hanging out with other people with limited mindsets. They're emotionally and
Yes.
financially impoverished. So if you hang out with everybody that think like how they taught us back in the day, of course you're not going to take the bold risks to see what's possible.
It's hugely important that your community, your friends, your peers, whatever, they need to be lifting you up and not dragging you down. And I mean, I've learned that lesson a lot of times, but it makes such a big
Yeah.
difference over and over again until I finally got it into my skull and my body that that's not going to work because you will take that in. And if you have people around you who are telling you, why would you even try doing that? Nobody wants to listen to that. Nobody's going to pay you for that. Then that's exactly what your reality is going to be.
Mhm.
And it doesn't need to be that at all.
Yep. 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 My dog, I was eating some peanut butter pretzels before this, and she is like scratch, like she's bothering me. So this is why y'all see I'm looking down. So I'm feeding my dog peanut butter pretzels, and hopefully she'll be okay. But
Show Moomba.
huh?
Can we see her?
Her hair ain't done. Oh my God. See, not look, I grew up, people will talk bad about you when your kids look rough. Say
She got her
hello.
clothes on though. Oh my
It's
God.
it's sweater weather. You know us clinicians like our sweaters and cardigans.
She's just like her mom.
Say hi.
She looks just like you.
Okay. Well, we'll give you a warning. So normally she's in dresses and pearls.
She is. She usually has little bows in her hair and she's an angel.
I had a speaking engagement, was it last summer? It was at a college. And it was, I forget the course. I think it was a social work course. So I had a speaking or a class, a group. And they were like, there's a stipulation that we want to put in here that you have to bring Moomba. So she
I,
had her first speaking engagement last year.
oh my God. I love that so much.
Yep. 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 And the thing is, everybody might see me talking about Moomba. And as we talk about this whole topic of like speaking and unlearning to relearn, I think all of it is like building an identity of who you are, how you want to be seen. And so when I talk about Moomba, folks will comment on Moomba more than they will comment on something I'm trying to help change their life with. I'm like, hey, I'm giving y'all something free. They're like, but is Moomba going to be there? I'm like,
Yeah. Totally.
but she is a part of my brand.
She is. She is. It's your brand identity.
Hmm.
That's very
Hmm.
important. I love that.
Hmm. An extension of us.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Mhm.
also need good pets who support you and love you, and that can help regulate your nervous system. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as somebody that openly lives with obsessive compulsive disorder and ADD, she is a automatic grounding source because y'all know animals pick up on everything.
mhm,
So even as I am traveling around the world and she's at her TT's house a lot of the time, I realize when I'm home, I need to be regulated. And I realized for so many years that I couldn't do that if I was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, because there's no sense of safety.
No,
Financial
no.
safety counts as safety.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. And when I'm engaging and working with mental health professionals and I see them struggling, like it hurts, just as it hurts when we see our clients struggling. There is some edge snatching that I have to do. And in my culture, that means pulling people real close and say, look, okay. And so when I'm pulling them close, I'm saying you don't need another degree. Go get it if you can, but don't break the bank for it. You don't need another certification. You don't need to prove anything to anybody at this point. You need to position yourself as someone that is not just talking it, but walking it.
Mhm.
My goal every day is to be visible enough to carry out my vision. So when I'm absent in rooms, my name will get dropped.
Yep.
If that's what it takes for me to create a little bit more ease in my life, I'd rather invest in being visible, making meaningful connections, because not every referral comes from me pitching. A
Yeah.
referral might come from me doing a news segment for 15 to 30 seconds on a hot topic. Y'all, we are living in a world where your expertise is needed because folks are just out there acting a hot fool. in organizations and everything. So if I can share my unique insight to maybe something political that's happening, or if you work with domestic violence or whatever it is. So one, I hear mental health professionals say, I'm struggling to keep my practice full. And then I hear them say, well, where do I find speaking engagements? Show up.
Mhm.
And the news is just one example. Millions and millions of people will see you sharing your expertise, but you do it in a crafty way of proving that you know your stuff, and just watch your analytics go up. Website views, contact forms. It might be for private practice, and it also might be for speaking and consulting and training.
Yes, both things, all of the things. You just need to put yourself out there.
Mhm.
And how do you help mental health folks do this? Because something that I hear that I am sure you also hear that we kind of touched on too is like, well, I speak on, I don't know, couples, or I work with eating disorders, or I work with this specific niche thing, and they'll be like, I can't do that. That there's no like speaking topic that aligns with that. It's too clinical, it's too this.
One thing we know is humans and behavior. We know psychology. No matter what your niche is or what your lane is, there's likely someone in an organization that is experiencing that same thing. They're just not sitting in your office. So how we do that is you get clear on how can this message, your session, turn to your stage. How can what you talk about, how can your message translate to a bigger audience? For example, let's go with couples. The core to couples is likely communication,
Mhm.
creating spaces of psychological safety, um, conflict resolution. Ding, 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 ding. Because here's the thing, everybody, I don't joke. I never joke like this because I don't want nobody to think I like them that much at work. But everybody's like, I got my work husband, my work wife, and I got my teams. All of those are just relationships. And when
Mhm.
an organization is looking for someone to come and teach the skill part to help their people recover, navigate, adapt, they're not looking for you to call it couples. They're looking for you to take the core of what you do to move your couples forward into this organization. And so when you are creating visibility and when you're putting content out there, you on the news, you're putting, wherever you're showing up, you want to be able to offer insight to your topic through a broad lens. So for me, I talk about evolving mental capacity without harm so that people can be more productive. I'm talking about communication. I'm talking about conflict resolution. I'm talking about disrupting systems that are harmful. And guess what? I do that in therapy too, because my practice is designed for Black women and girls and active allies. So I'm talking about disrupting systems. I'm talking about how to communicate and not take nobody's bullshit when they're microaggressing you. I'm talking about those things. So all we have to do is understand the role in which we're showing up as and how we're positioning ourselves to be that person that can facilitate conflict resolution. Because all of that boosts morale. When people are centered, we are centered people. Companies care about, they say they care about their people, you know, they care about their productivity and they care about their profit.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's how you can start shifting your mind. Okay, what content can I put out there to broaden how I'm able to teach, facilitate, and model my topic? Yeah,
Just got a free coaching sesh from Dominique.
yeah, yeah. And there are other parts that go into it. Okay, well, where would I pitch? I used to be a pitch person. I'm not a prune to pitching. I am not a prune to pitching because here's the thing, Gabby, what my favorite question if I am somewhere, I'm at the airport, I'm in the lounge, what might I ask the person after I could build the human connection?
She wants to know who she can talk to at their company, at their job, who hires speakers.
Who hired? Exactly. Who's the person that brings in your outside speakers? I enjoyed this conversation.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go research that company. They might connect me. So not being afraid when you are out and about. Everybody ain't meant to be a friend. Everybody, you're just not going to like build this deep, loving connection. And before I pitch and tell them what I do, you got all of 30 seconds. So you've heard about that whole marketing message, elevator pitch thing. In 30 seconds, I want to get as much information I can about that person and say, hey, I actually have a consulting and a training business that provides services that you need for your organization. I'm not telling them I'm a therapist. I'm not telling them I do EMDR. I'm not doing all of that. I actually have programs and offers that I work with companies every day. Who's the person that brings in your outside speakers? That can happen in 30 seconds to a minute because you don't know which direction y'all are going. But we're
Yep.
overthinking it. We got to demonstrate, prove all of our expertise when we're meeting people.
They don't care. They
They
want to
don't.
know what's in it for them. That is the reality.
Yep. They don't care and they're not going to remember any of that stuff. But we've gotten so good at hiding behind our credentials, our alphabet soup, and all the trainings is that we aren't able to articulate how we can help other people beyond the session.
Yeah.
And I say that with the most love too, y'all.
They need to hear it. I see people watching live. So if you have questions or you have comments, you feel free to drop them. You don't have to, no pressure.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
people say, well, where would I pitch something like that? Okay, so I work with couples. Okay, I'm translating it into I work through conflict resolution in companies that are turning over. People are getting laid off by the masses, y'all. There is turnover. We are witnessing it all, and we're saying, man, that's sad. It's sad, and I can help. Okay. And so when you see companies who are like shrinking and all of that, they still have money. Y'all, we got October, November, we got 3 months left and companies have money to burn. Everything ain't about, well, I need to know you 100% believe in what I do. That's different than alignment. Alignment is can we safely build a partnership? I respect you, you respect me, and you see value, but everybody ain't going to be all hunky dory like, she's going to come in. No, we're doing business here. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, where can you find people? I want all of you all to go to your junk mail today. My mail person dislikes me. Well, I think he likes me. He's nice, but he don't like that I don't check my mail. I check my mail like twice a month. Um, and yeah, I just do. But go to your junk mail. You do business at the bank, the phone company, your kids or family member school, the nursing home at the street. You probably drop some baskets off wherever you do business. One, open your eyes and just say, I wonder what's going on with that company. Let me do a little bit of use AI to help me pull together a dossier, which is a collection of information, kind of a summary of this company, all the things you want to know. That's one lane. Look in your junk mail. There are corporations that organizations we do business with every day. They don't know they need you because you haven't told them. We're looking
Mhm.
at it in the world. Mental health will be the first thing to go when people's monies get cut, when they are losing jobs. They ain't thinking about coming to us, even though we will likely add, hope and all of that for on their journey. But these people are in survival mode. Just like organizations, they're not saying, okay, well, let's bring in a mental health person unless they are mental health driven. They don't know they
Yeah.
need us yet, so we have got to facilitate that conversation. Open your eyes.
You have to tell them what to do.
You got to.
There's kind of a similar example that I was talking about recently. What is that dude's name? Donald something, who he owns Story Branding. He's like a
Uh-huh.
very famous marketing person, if you don't know who he is. And the example that always sticks with me is that he was speaking at a conference and he had all these high level C-suite people listening to him. And he was like, I have something very important to tell you, but I can't tell you here, it's outside. So he makes everybody in their suits and everything go outside. And then he stands up on, like, I don't know, some curb or something. And he's like, this means nothing. You all needed to be told what to do. And now you're out here because I told you to. So you need to be the one to direct them to you because
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And in order to do that, you got to get crystal clear. You got to make some investments, whether you're working with, I'm working, or whoever is working with you. And it brings me to, I love brainstorming with my therapy friends. I love brainstorming with Jen, Patrick. I love y'all. And at the end of the day, I need to understand what's happening outside of our industry. So I am going
Yes.
to tech conferences. I'm going to construction association conferences. Okay, y'all. Um, so mental health, the need for people to cultivate their mental health on their journey, it's in every industry. That is the beauty about us. We're needed everywhere. So just when you think, well, they brought so and so in as their trainer last year. Here's the thing: so and so might be mediocre as hell, mediocre, but they were bold enough to pitch their mediocre services, and that company said, "Well, I guess we don't have a choice."
Yep. Where are some, I don't know, maybe unique places that you've spoken at that maybe your clients have spoken at that people would never think of or haven't thought of?
Um, oh, that's a really good question. I've never been asked that
I know.
question. Um, Unique. You know what? I'm not even going to hold us. I'm going to come back and respond to this in the group because now you got my brains turned. I've spoken so many places. Um, mm, I spoke at a dominatrix convention,
Ooh.
and it wasn't a publicized event.
Mhm.
They had no marketing. It was like word of mouth. And I was going in to talk about boundaries, standards, and rules as you dominate your sacred space.
Oh my God, I have chills. I love that.
And I've never shared this story, but it was, I'm like, y'all ain't got no marketing. And I'm like, okay, y'all finna have me up in, conference. I don't know it was the most unique, um, f- free space ever. But it was basically, so how I translated from what I know is setting your boundary standards and rules to communicate not just with your clients and your customers, but with your team members too. Because dominatrix world, there's a lot of consent, a lot of things that are happening. I'm not a sex expert, so I wasn't talking about that. I was talking on how do you protect your sacred space. So I talk about capacity, I talk about effective communication, and those are the things. Y'all, I was at a dominatrix convention.
I love that so much. That's so fucking cool.
Yep. So I think that might be the most unique one. Was I uncomfortable? No, no. It's a profession. It is a community. I wasn't uncomfortable, and they were the utmost professional the whole way process. And y'all, they laid it out, and I was like, "How in the hell did y'all find me?"
Yeah. How did they?
They heard me on a podcast. I think they heard me on a podcast. It had nothing to do with sex. It had nothing to do with it. I think it was like a women's empowerment podcast. And I said something, and it was probably of the phrase about a mediocre. I think the quote that got him, I was talking about a mediocre white man can show up in a space and declare power, but yet we have people who are just as powerful. So it was tied to that.
Yeah.
But they said I carried the conversation. So they, patted me on the back. And I was like, well, damn, you never know who is listening to what, who is showing up where.
You don't. That's what I love about that. It's all about just visibility and relationships because you don't know who's listening or who's paying attention or who's going to reach out to you. And
Yeah.
that's what's so exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I know we're getting to the end here, and I have really picked your brain. I hate that term, but that's what came out of my mouth. And so thank you for sharing. But tell us about the online summit. It starts on the 20th. It started on the
Yes.
20th. Okay.
Yeah. It starts on Monday. So again, it is called Sessions to Stages, and it is a 3-day online free, y'all know we like free, 3-day online free event for mental health professionals. Come and join me and 20, actually, I'm gonna give you the exact number, 31 powerhouse, dynamic, thriving speakers across many domains. My intellectual property and contract attorney is going to be speaking. Gabby is speaking. We have a lot of people you know in your community, but I wanted to be intentional about bringing in faces and names you don't know that can help you accelerate where you are on your journey. So, my contract attorney, we have TEDxers, we have authors, we have a voice and language speech specialist, we have a finance expert, a lot of different people that's going to show you what's possible, not all the hows and all the things, those are steps, but show you what's possible when you turn your session wisdom into transformational speaking services so that you can make more impact, income, and have more independence. So I welcome you all, two snaps. I welcome you all to register. You can use Gabrielle's link or you can go to Speak to the Soul /sessions to stages, but please use Gabrielle's unique partnership link. So Speak to the Soul /sessions to stages. And here's the thing, you all. I know y'all are busy folks. I know y'all got all type of stuff going on. If you're like, I'm not going to be available at all next week. I got clients. You can upgrade to the all access pass. It is a value base. I wanted everyone who contributed to that, every speaker, to give value, not something you can find free on their website. It is over $1,000 worth of valuable resources. You get 45 days access to the replays, bonus courses. We have 3 bonus panels, one for Black women and powerhouse speaker panel, a neurodivergent panel, and a diversifying income streams panel. Y'all, it's here. I hope to see you all at the event.
It's so good. I was actually looking at the schedule yesterday and I was like, holy shit. Like everything you could need and want is in this summit. And I contributed something that I've never put out into the world yet at all. So, my course on how to run retreats and how to make that as part of your business model is what I contributed to the VIP bundle. So,
Yeah.
if you upgrade, you can check that out too. But sign up, it's going to be amazing. There's so much good stuff in there, as you can tell by speaking with Dominique today. Megan said she can't wait. I will drop my link below, and I will also drop Dr. Dominique's information too if you want to check out her website, if you want some coaching or a VIP day with her. That's what she does. This is what she helps therapists and mental health professionals do. And again, if you are watching this later, just put hashtag replay and we will come back and answer all of your questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Thanks, everybody.